Have you ever wondered what it's like to swim in a school of salmon? Hey guys, it's Brandon, and welcome back to another episode of Nature Meets Paper, the place where we go on an adventure to discover the world of marine biology. Today we will be talking about sockeye salmon. My reference photo was given to me by Jason Ching. His photo was taken in Lake Iliamna, Alaska. I had the opportunity to work with him and other University of Washington staff and students in 2012. Ready to see what it's like to swim with sockeye salmon? Let's dive in. Before we get to swim with salmon, let's learn a little bit about where they are found, what they look like, a few behaviors, and some fun facts. Oncorhynchus, Nurka are commonly called sockeye, bluebacks, and red salmon. Oncorhynchus comes from the Greek word onkos, which means barb, and rhynchos, which means snout. Nurka comes from the Russian word used to describe red salmon. They are called bluebacks in some regions when in the ocean phase for their blue and silver appearance. Red salmon typically describes their spawning colors, which are bright red with a green snout. The word sockeye is a British Columbia Salish word meaning red fish. Their natural range can be as far south as California in the eastern Pacific and Hokkaido Island, Japan, in the western Pacific, to as far north as Bathurst Inlet in the Canadian Arctic. There are several landlocked populations along the Pacific Ocean, and even some places were stocked on the Atlantic side for sport fishing. These landlocked populations are known as kokanee. The salmon I am focusing on today will be the anadromous salmon found in Lake Iliamna, Alaska. The term anadromous is defined as a fish that is born in freshwater, spends most of its life in saltwater, then returns to freshwater to spawn. This population is the largest sockeye salmon population in the world. The commercial fishery catches a percentage of the wild population, leaving a healthy population to spawn and replenish the stock for future years. In 2010, the Bristol Bay Fisheries processed 30 million salmon out of a worldwide catch of 64 million registered salmon. Let's discover some interesting facts about the life stages of these salmon now. Sockeye are semiparous, which means that after a spawning event, they die. The juvenile salmon hatch in the streams and move to a nearby lake, where their diet is primarily zooplankton and some surface bugs and insects. Juveniles will spend anywhere between 1 to 2 years in the freshwater environment, growing and preparing to migrate to the ocean. In order to survive in the ocean, you need to be large enough to avoid predation. Once in the ocean, their diet still consists primarily of zooplankton. The sexual maturity of the salmon determines when it will migrate back to freshwater to spawn. Some salmon spend 2 years in the ocean, where others spend up to 4 or 5. When the salmon enter the estuarine waters, this starts the process of sexual dimorphism, the physical changes that alter the body size, depth, color, and organ placement. The salmon stop feeding when they enter freshwater. Their stomach size decreases and makes room for growing reproductive organs. The once silver salmon starts to turn a bright red to purple with a green head and tail. The males become deeper bodied than the females and have a pronounced hump. Their jaws lengthen and become hooked with jagged teeth. The females are thinner and don't have the hooked snout with rough teeth. All of these features can change depending on where the salmon spawns. The deeper-bodied males can't make it up a shallow stream as easily as a shallower-bodied male. But a shallow-bodied male can't compete with a beach-spawning male with a huge hump. This creates a noticeable size difference between shallow stream and deeper beach-spawning males and females. Remember how I referenced salmon who return to spawn after 1 or 2 years in the ocean? These males aren't as mature as the older males, so they have come up with their own way to ensure the opportunity to mate. They are known as jacks or sneaker males. They have the appearance of a female and can sneak into a redd to spawn. A redd is a nest made by the females where they will hide their fertilized eggs. Redds are guarded by dominant males and females. The males show aggression to other large males, and the females show aggression to other females trying to steal redds. It is a very tough life trying to survive as a salmon. Their whole life is about surviving to pass on genes and traits. That is why it is so special looking into the eyes of these creatures, reaching out and being able to pet a salmon. Having thousands of them return to be able to be in the moment with them is truly amazing. I asked Dr. Thomas Quinn from the University of Washington what his favorite part of studying salmon was and what he wants people to know about the species. Dr. Quinn has been studying the migration, ecology, conservation, bear predation, differentiation between populations, and the behavior of salmon, rainbow trout, and char in Alaska since 1987. His response was this, quote, "I love working with and being around salmon because they are simply the most important fish in the world. How can I say that where there are tens of thousands of fishes? Salmon are unique because of the many ways in which they contact humans and the rest of the world. They are very important to capture fisheries, but so are walleye, pollock, and herring. However, pollock and herring are not important in recreational fisheries the way salmon are. There is lots of sport fishing for largemouth bass, but no commercial fishing for them. Salmon are also of great importance, both as symbols and as items of food, commerce, barter, and ceremony in native cultures all around the Pacific Rim, from Japan and Russia all the way to California. Sure, ravens and killer whales are also culturally important, but the Haida did not, to my knowledge, eat ravens on a regular basis, but they sure ate salmon. So, salmon are uniquely important to people because of the many different ways in which we relate to them. They are also dominant species ecologically in the freshwater and the marine communities that they occupy. And their upstream migration brings nutrients to streams and lakes, where the salmon play a crucial role in the ecology of bears, eagles, gulls, fishes, maggots, and trees. Finally, even if you do not fish for salmon, eat them, paint them, or go to watch bears who eat them, people all around the world know about the amazing homing migration of salmon, struggling upstream to return to the place of their birth. They are heroic, and these days the world needs more heroes." End quote. I am going to leave you with that thought. Ponder it, and think about what he said. Looks like we're all out of time for this adventure. Time to come back to land and dry off until next adventure. I hope you enjoyed swimming with spawning sockeye salmon. I know I did. I want to thank all of you for watching. I also want to thank Jason for allowing me to use his photos as a reference photo for my painting. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more adventures and go on more adventures with me, make sure to subscribe. Remember, if you made a new discovery or learned something new, share that discovery with someone else, because it's always more fun to go on an adventure with somebody else than alone. For works in progress and more details on purchasing my art, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. I have been Brandon, and I will see you in the next adventure.